Anchors up, sells it full. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. How are you?
Doing all right, doing good, as a matter of fact. I don't know why I had the instinct to redo the same
Crack a
joke
beer?
from last week. Well, there's that too. Actually don't even know if me faking the noise. This is the second episode we record. I'm still working on the same beer. I don't even know if me faking the noise gets through the noise gate, to be honest with you. But you know what? It's fine. Kyle, it is time. It is time to get to know our enemies, who are the Texas Longhorns. So let's get right into it.
Yeah. 7 months later, and we're
Same
back.
team. Well, not exactly.
Same team.
Not exactly.
Well,
same laundry.
Yeah.
Same laundry.
Well, instead of playing in Texas, they're coming up to Ohio to play this one this time.
Yeah, they sure are. Here's the thing, though. It's really hard to beat a team like this twice.
It is. We've talked about it. I mean, ask Oregon last year. It's really tough to beat a team twice. And the good thing for Ohio State, it's a new season.
Yeah.
So maybe it doesn't count as beating a team twice.
New season, new coordinators. It
New
is
quarterbacks.
really. Yeah. We have tape on their quarterback. They don't have tape on our quarterback. I'll say that much. Which all of this, like, oh God, we have new coordinators and they don't have tapes. They don't have tape on our quarterback. This is all like hard copium, I think. Like, oh yeah, we had to replace both of our coordinators and our quarterback doesn't have any experience. Watch us twist that into a good thing. Ha ha. But yeah, I'm not going into this game super optimistic.
Honestly,
I think
both teams, you can say that too. There's a lot of departures on both teams,
Sure.
on both sides of the ball. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely look at Ohio State with the coordinators, especially not being there. Look at that as maybe the disadvantage for Ohio State. But I mean, you look at some of the recent news from both teams here. Texas out with their left tackle and potentially the right tackle. Right. We'll see. Game time decision there. Reports out there that their right tackle broke his hand and potentially is a game time decision. That's interesting on how breaking a hand and you can still play, especially at a offensive line position there. I imagine that would be very tough to do.
I mean, you're not supposed to hold anyway, right?
There's holding in every play, Jared.
I know.
There's holding in every
Kyle,
play.
I used to play offensive line. I know. You holding is part of it. It's just not. It's not a matter of not holding. It's a matter of where you hold on the jersey. I understand. But from especially from a pass protection standpoint, if you're grabbing, you've already lost. If you're grabbing, you've already lost. At least from a pass protection standpoint, at least at tackle.
Fair.
Run blocking, that is a little bit different. That's a little bit different. But yeah, we up on the screen right now. We have key players on the offense, key players on the defense, and their statistics from last season. Of course, it's week 1, so we only have last year's statistics. We don't have any of this year's statistics yet, obviously. But here they are. Last year, number 2 defense in the country as far as points allowed, number 4th in the country as far as yards allowed. Number 1 passing defense in the entire country last year.
Yards per pass.
That's really what matters the most, in my opinion. Yards per game, they did drop down to 7th, but I think yards per pass is probably the most telling. Really good on third downs as a defensive unit. It was odd how bad Texas was offensively in the red zone. Yeah, I mean, yeah, quite frankly, their offense wasn't. Their offense was not like great last year. It was obviously good. I don't think anyone would say it was bad, but they had a lot of running issues, and Ewers just never lived up to the hype that was attributed to him. And Manning will have the reins now, and he looked good when he played. Last year, because he did play a decent amount last year. I wouldn't say he looked fantastic when he played, but he looked good. And those were his first couple starts. Like it would probably be more newsworthy if he had played fantastic. My biggest thing coming into this game this year is just the motivating factor of, like, Ohio State wins the national championship game, and no matter how motivated you attempt to remain, like, one team got knocked out of the playoffs and have been stewing on that all year, all offseason, that is. And that to me is a motivating factor that you simply can't manufacture on the other side. You simply cannot, no matter how self-driving, no matter how self-motivating the players are, no matter what Ryan Day and Coach Mick and everyone did to create motivation, you cannot manufacture the motivation of getting to play the team that knocked you out of the playoffs in week 1 the next year. They have better continuity coming back on their coaching staff. They have better continuity coming back on their offense, especially since, like I said, Manning actually has real snaps under his belt. They have a good wide receiving core. They have Archie Manning. I'm not particularly afraid of their running game, but they have an incredibly solid defense coming back. I think this is a competitive game. I think it's a game that can go either direction. Like, it very, very easily can go either direction. This just might be a who gets the bounce at the end of the game, who gets the good or bad call from the refs. It really could come down to that.
Yeah, I agree with a lot that you said there. Their wide receivers, I think, would be better than last year. Wisner doesn't scare me all that much on the ground. In the passing game, absolutely. Yeah, I think he's definitely been a playmaker whenever the Ewers threw it to him. 44 receptions last year from Wisner. Didn't really get to see the end zone that much last year.
Only 6 total touchdowns.
He averaged right around 4.5 yards per carry all season. As like your main running back, like I would expect that to be maybe a little bit higher as a starting running back at Texas there.
Right.
But like looking at the past few games here, 2.7 against Ohio State, 2.5 against Arizona State, 2.7 against Georgia. Like, that's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done on the ground. I mean,
as a team, they were 69th in the country rushing yards per game, 64th per rush. Like, they were bottom half or close to it as a running offense last year.
Mm-hmm. And then you're out with one, possibly two of your starting running backs, or not running back, offensive linemen. That doesn't bode too well in terms of both the rushing and the pass protection there.
Yeah. Esquire's demanding to see Archie Manning's birth certificate down in the chat. Is Arch short for Archibald? Archimandius? Archimedes? I don't know, man. It might just be Archie. Although Archibald probably makes more sense.
They do have a transfer. Jack Endries from Cal,
our
tight end.
Our tight end transfer is better.
Ours is, yes. 56 receptions, over 600 yards, and only 2 touchdowns. Definitely maybe to keep an eye out on. Of course, like young quarterbacks, loving tight ends. Week 1, definitely something to keep an eye out for.
Absolutely.
Defensively here, they got a lot of players back. Colin Simmons is back. Anthony Hill Jr., Leonard LaFou is back. Jalen is back. Michael and the safety is back as well. A lot of playmakers defensively for Texas, and we saw in the game against Ohio State. Ohio State did at many times during the game struggle to move the ball, and rightfully so. I mean, Texas was an extraordinary defensive team last year.
Yeah,
and they're returning a lot of key players. Definitely, I think Texas is scarier on the defensive side than offensive this year. For me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And when it comes down to it, and this sucks to say, I really wish I wasn't about to say this, but this is going to come down to like how ready is Sayin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean that sucks because he's a redshirt freshman quarterback. Starting in his first game, not just starting in his first game, but these are going to be his first like competitive snaps ever at the collegiate level. And he's about to play against the number 1 team in the country. And listen, congrats to him. Like it would be huge if that's not too big for him. 'Cause in all likelihood, that's just going to be too big for him. That's a huge order. That's a huge ask on a redshirt freshman quarterback getting his first serious starts at the collegiate level. Mm-hmm. If he's actually able to rise to that, that'll be a pleasant surprise. Like it should not be the expectation that he is able to rise to that occasion, because again, Texas is the number 1 team in the country, rightfully so, in my opinion. And like, yeah, you do get to play at home. That's nice. But the Texas squad has to be geared, absolutely geared, knowing that they have a revenge game for the past 7 months. Like that's it just feels a little too big. It all feels a little too big, not just for Sayin, but for a team that is replacing a lot of starters this year. Mm-hmm. And this is why I've said it several times during the offseason. I don't expect Ohio State to win this game. And for what it matters, it doesn't matter. Like if Ohio State gets blown out in this game, that would matter. I don't think that'll happen, for the record.
Yeah.
But Ohio State can lose this game, and as long as they don't look terrible, as long as they don't get blown out, as long as they don't embarrass themselves, it won't matter. No. Yeah. Playoff committee is not going to hold a less than 10-point loss in week 1 against the number 1 team in the country against Ohio State.
Agreed. I got some interesting numbers in terms of first starts for Ohio State quarterbacks, and I will give those stats after our first ad break here. TheSloopcast.com is your go-to link for anything and everything Sloopcast related. There you can find our Patreon page, our Discord, YouTube, merch, 7071, Spotify, all the links and others over at TheSloopcast.com. We're going to take our first ad break and be right back.
Okay, Kyle. Now, when you give us first-time Ohio State quarterback starters.
Yeah. So last year, Howard.
Please be sure to tell us who they played.
That's a good note to add in there. So
yeah.
Let's start back in 2018. Haskins played Oregon State.
Uh-huh.
Threw for 313 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Now was he a redshirt freshman?
He wasn't.
Okay. Was Oregon State even kind of ranked?
No. But I'm going to move on just for the sake of time here.
Okay.
Justin Fields, his first time.
Okay.
He threw 234 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Against?
Florida Atlantic.
Okay. Was Florida Atlantic ranked?
No. Moving forward is CJ Stroud. His first game.
He was a redshirt freshman.
Mm-hmm. 294 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Okay.
Against your Golden Gophers, Jared.
Okay. I mean, that's the most impressive line so far.
That's better. And then McCord.
Was Minnesota ranked?
No, none of these were. McCord, 2 years ago, 239 yards.
Okay.
Against Indiana. How many touchdowns did he had? He had no touchdowns. 239 yards.
That's not fantastic, and that was not. It's Indiana was still Indiana at that point.
And then the last one last year, Howard, first time starting at Ohio State, threw for 228 yards.
But he's not a first time starter though.
And 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
But that is it. Those are the numbers there, and we're gonna go ahead and move into our sloop sayers, Jared. We're gonna talk about some players to watch here and give our key matchups and our final score.
All right.
So we'll start with Ohio State player to watch. I think you kind of hinted at it, Jared, earlier.
Yeah.
Earlier in this episode. It's got to be Julian Sand.
It's got to be Julian Sand.
The player to watch is Julian Sand. I think that's the correct answer here.
Yeah. I'd like to select the CJ Stroud opening game package, please. I mean, it's the most fair comparison only because he was at least playing a power, what we would have called at the time, a Power 5 team. And was
Stroud,
a redshirt freshman.
His second game was against Oregon.
Okay.
And he threw for 484 yards and 3 touchdowns against Oregon.
Okay, but that was not a good Oregon team. We're in between.
Yeah.
Good.
They were ranked 12th. They were ranked 12th at that time.
Okay. And it felt like a struggle. We had defensive issues. That team had defensive issues. That wasn't on Stroud.
All right. Who do you got for your player to watch, Jared?
On the defensive side?
Either like your Ohio State player to watch.
Oh, I already said it. Saying.
Okay. Enemy player to watch. Who do you have for Texas? Who's the one player to keep an eye out for?
I could go a lot of places. I think I could go with Anthony Hill at linebacker. He's just leader of that defense. Ohio State, I think Ohio State's probably going to need to, they need at least 3 touchdowns. And that's with, I say at least 3 touchdowns. That's also me saying with a few field goals sprinkled on top. Like, they need like at least 31 points, I think, to win this football game. And that's going to be difficult.
I know we're kind of talking lowly of him, but I think if Texas is going to win, it's going to be on the backs of him. I think it's Quintrivion Wisner, the running back.
Okay.
Be a playmaker on both the running. I think more so on the passing side. He caught 6 passes for 42 yards against Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Maybe that's just kind of a preview of what we'll see this weekend here. Get more success thrown to him than on the ground, because he had 17 touches on the ground for 46 yards. Not great, Paul. So
no,
yeah, I think if Texas is going to have success, we will see bigger numbers from Wisner.
All right.
And the key matchup here, to me, Jared, I think the key matchup, it's Ohio State's defensive line versus Texas offensive line. How well can Ohio State's defensive line get pressure on Manning, stop Wisner, and yeah, I think that you gotta rattle him, make him uncomfortable, because Manning's going to get happy feet here. He's rushed the ball quite a few times in the limited playing that he had last year, and he still ran the ball. He had 4 touchdowns on the ground as a backup quarterback.
Right.
Maybe we'll see him more on scrambling plays here. Yeah, introduce him to our linebackers. Yeah. Ryan Day did say, Jared, that he feels confident in a 5-man defensive tackle rotation.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can see that.
McDonald, Houston,
yeah,
Smith Jr., Malone, and Carter.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, what do you got for your key matchup, Jared?
Key matchup, I'm going to have Arch versus the Ohio State secondary.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Hinted a little bit in our previous episode. If you haven't listened to that, check out yesterday's episode. Ohio State favored in this game by 2.5 points.
Yep.
Jared and myself are picking the underdog, while our guest picker, Buckeye Esquire, has picked Ohio State. And I'll start with him, and he has a few sentences here about the matchup here. He says, "We've never been more back. Time to drive Sark back to the bottle. Arch has met Lathan Ransom. Time to introduce him to Arvell Reese. OSU takes an instant classic at home, 27-22. And what do you have as the final score, Jared, with you saying that Texas will cover?
I have Texas both covering and winning. I have Texas 27, Ohio State 24.
All right. I'm hoping to get a few little brownie points back from the chat, because I got some boo birds earlier. I do have Texas covering, but I have Ohio State winning 21-20.
21-20. That's a low score.
You got 2 young quarterbacks. You got it week 1. You're gonna see some some rough times. You're going to see some mental mistakes. I think it could be low scoring. Who scores in the last scenario? Ooh, throwing a curveball here. You know what?
There's an easy answer to that.
Just a nice one-on-one matchup to the corner of the end zone. Yeah. To JJ, of course.
Yeah. With
just over 3 minutes left in the game,
and
the defense.
And you can't leave that much time on the clock. You can't leave that much time on the clock, Kyle.
I know, but the defense stands up tall and makes a stop.
All right.
Giving Ohio State the ball back in to run out the time.
All right. Okay, Kyle. Is that the show? Did we do it?
That is. We do have a little bit of time left here. If there's anything else that you want to talk about or cover here.
I think again, I've said it. I'll say it one more time. I think the big factor here is just the motivation imbalance. Mm-hmm. It's just incredibly difficult to manufacture the type of motivation that Texas is just going to organically have. I almost said origami. Like, no kidding. I almost said origamically. That Texas organically has. It's just, you got knocked out of Ohio. Ohio State knocked you out of the playoffs last year, and you've had the entire season, the entire off season since then to prepare for this game, just revenge minded. And like I said, as long as Ohio State stays close and it stays competitive and it's not some big blowout, which I don't think it will be, I think it'll be fine as far as the Ohio State's long-term playoff and national title hopes. It might cost you the number 1 seed, but it's not going to cost you the playoff spot. And it's not going to hurt you at all from a Big Ten standpoint. So I do think Ohio State loses, but I also don't think it'll be a big deal.
Yeah. Overall, it's not going to be a big deal as long as it's not a blowout. And I just don't see that because of how talented Ohio State is here. Hartline will be in the box per Ryan Day here. Mm-hmm.
He will be. I mean, you have to. I think a coordinator has to be up in the box. That, or they have to have a trusted co-coordinator in the box on their behalf. You know what I mean? But I think you need a coordinator up in the box.
Yeah.
You're too big of a disadvantage not seeing things from up there, having desk space in front of you with the play sheets, just that level of like emotional separation to be able to think calmly and rationally. I being up in the booth as a play caller, I think, is just a huge, huge deal.
Yep. And with the helmet communications now, it'll make his job a little bit easier now too. Because
it'll make some people's jobs harder. I won't say who.
Yeah. In his first time as the offensive coordinator, I know he was on the sidelines with Day there.
Yeah.
And I do remember like Day vaguely mentioning about like wanting Hartline there to help kind of guide him and help make different kind of substitutions as well too. But
sure,
once I'm up in the booth, and I think that's the right call.
Yeah. I mean, when Hartline had his first stint at offensive coordinator, that was 2 seasons ago.
Day was still calling the plays.
And when they brought in Chip Kelly last year, everyone knew that it was probably going to be a 1-year stay at Ohio State. And it was understood that was the case. And it was understood that it was a big part of Chip Kelly's job to get Hartline ready.
Yep.
Brian Hartline's now had the opportunity to learn under both Ryan Day and Chip Kelly.
Yep.
So, I know his first stint as offensive coordinator wasn't fantastic, but you have to give people an opportunity to learn and to grow. And there were other challenges on that offense beyond Brian Hartline. That on the offensive line, at quarterback, Yep.
All right. And I think with that, we'll go ahead and end that episode here, Jared. So go ahead and, as I bring in our legally not Brutus logo here, horns down.
Horns down. Anything you want for Kyle's Corner, or are we just nope? All right.
Oh.
Once again, tonight's ending music will be brought to you by the New Bomb Turks. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course support your local podcasters. Once again, these are the New Bomb Turks.